ICMR Indie App Study. Training on Mapping and Listing. In this video, we will see about the mapping and listing procedure to be followed in the field. The objective of the mapping operation is to obtain a detailed, well-defined map of the primary sampling unit (PSU) to be studied. The objective of the listing operation is to ensure that all households in the selected PSU are included in the survey. First, let us see the mapping procedure. There are two types of mapping, namely the boundary mapping and the structure mapping. First, let us see the boundary mapping. The purpose of the boundary mapping is to obtain an accurate map of the area being sampled, which will serve as a reference map and illustrate the location of the PSU to be surveyed. The map should be simple and comprehensive so that it would be easy for anyone to use in the future. Before drawing the boundary map, the PSU has to be visited to determine an effective route of travel. This visit will help in determining the boundary of the PSU, that is, identifying the beginning point and end point of the PSU. Then, divide the PSU into sections. The sections can be census enumeration blocks (CEBs) in the case of urban areas or village segments in the case of rural areas. Wherever possible, obtain a map that is already available from the consensus office or village administrative officer to use as a reference. However, these maps can only serve as a reference, and for the survey, we have to draw a fresh map. Then, a rough sketch map of the PSU has to be made, indicating the boundaries of the section as well as the relative location of landmarks, public buildings such as schools, temples and markets, national highways and main roads. In this video, we will see how a boundary map is drawn for a rural PSU. This rural PSU is located near a national highway. Hence, while drawing the boundary map, the national highway has to be marked. In any PSU, there can be different types of roads such as Pakka roads, that is, concrete roads, or tar roads, Kacha roads, such as mud roads, and footpaths as seen in the video. These types of roads should be marked in the map using appropriate symbols. Important landmarks should be marked in the map, such as the ones shown in the video, like the bus stop, temple, pond, mountain, primary school, higher secondary school, transformer, river, bridge and big trees. Only big trees like the banyan tree, which will serve as a landmark, should be marked in the map, and not all trees. Other than these shown in the video, landmarks like a hospital, cinema theatre, shopping mall or hotel should also be marked in the map. Assistance can be obtained from the local authorities or people living in the vicinity to identify the boundaries if necessary. If the selected rural PSU has more than 400 households, segmentation should be done, which is nothing but dividing the village into at least 3 smaller units or segments with around 100 to 250 households per segment. It is important that a segment is clearly identifiable. Preferably, roads, streets, tree lines, canals, bridges, railway tracks, etc. can be used to distinguish the boundaries of a segment. In the absence of clear-cut signs, artificial boundaries can be drawn, that is, arbitrary lines with some identification may have to be used. Of the total segments, 2 segments will be randomly selected using the correct procedure, which will be taught to you in the segmentation session. The team should finish mapping a selected segment before going on to the next selected segment. Within each segment, start at one corner of the segment and move clockwise around the segment and cover the entire segment. While drawing the boundary map, the observation column has to be filled in first. In this column, details of the PSU have to be written, such as the distance of the PSU from the nearest popular or easily identifiable town or village. The north direction has to be marked in the top right corner of the map. Each map should contain only one PSU. Get the boundary map approved by the quality supervisor before starting the structure map. Make sure mapping is complete before starting the actual survey. This is an example of a boundary map. Structure mapping. Now let us see how to do the structure mapping. The purpose of the structure map is to list all the details of streets, lanes, and the buildings or structures in the selected PSU. Before going into the mapping, let us see what a structure means. A structure is a freestanding building that can have one or more rooms. Examples of structures are houses, temples, godowns, stores, shops, clinics, hospitals, schools, supermarkets, etc. It is also possible that buildings may be used for a combination of purposes such as shop cum residence, workshop cum residence, office cum residence, etc. All these are treated as structures. Different symbols can be used to denote different structures. However, all houses where people live should be denoted by a square box. Irrespective of the size of the house, a similar square box should be used to denote it. Structures where people live or reside, such as houses, apartments, or flats, are called as residential structures. Structures where people do not reside, such as schools, offices, temples, cinema theatres, etc., are called as non-residential structures. While drawing the structure map, all structures, both residential and non-residential structures, must be numbered. However, only residential structures will be included during the house listing process. In other words, only residential structures will be included in the study. In any given PSU, there can be three types of houses, namely Pakka, Kacha and Semi-Pakka houses. Pakka houses are made from high-quality materials such as bricks, tiles, cement or concrete throughout, including roof, walls and floor. As you can see in the video, this is a Pakka house with the floor and roof made of concrete and the walls made of brick and cement. Kacha houses are made from mud, thatch or other such materials. This is a Kacha house where the roof is thatched and the walls and floors are made of mud. Semi-Pakka houses are made from a combination of Pakka and Kacha houses. This is a Semi-Pakka house where the roof is thatched, whereas the walls and floor are made of brick and cement. For drawing the structure map, A3 paper must be used as there are several structures in a PSU to be drawn on the same paper. While drawing the structure map, first mark the north direction on the top right corner of the map. All structures should be numbered and the structure numbers should be marked uniformly, preferably on top of the structure. The starting point on the map should be marked with an X symbol. The structure map should start from the left-hand side and should keep to the left. Avoid zigzag numbering of the structures. All structures should be numbered in sequential order, beginning with the number 1. Use appropriate symbols for non-residential structures. Whenever there is a break in the numbering of structures, for example, when moving from one block or street to another, use an arrow to indicate how the numbers proceed from one set of structures to another. Although there are standard symbols as given in the quick guide, there may be occasions where symbols that are not in the list have to be used. Therefore, it is essential that we should always mention the appropriate symbols in the keynotes at the bottom of the map. Do not miss any structure within the boundary of the PSU. Do not include any structure away from the boundary of the PSU. However, sometimes it may be useful to add landmarks that are found outside the PSU boundary if they help to identify structures within the PSU. Here are a few examples of structures and non-structures in a rural PSU. First, this is a shop-cum-residence. That is, in this structure, the front portion is a shop and the back portion is a house. Though it has 2 compartments, it has to be treated as a single structure. Here is a kitchen seen outside the house. Though the kitchen is located outside the house, both the house and the kitchen should be treated as a single structure. Here is a bathroom located outside the house. This should not be treated as a separate structure. Here is a cattle shed. It should not be treated as a structure. Here is a house under construction. If the house under construction has a roof at the time of being surveyed, it has to be treated as a structure, and a structure number has to be given. If it does not have a roof, it should not be treated as a structure. Next is a damaged house. Again, if the damaged house has a roof at the time of being surveyed, it has to be treated as a structure. If the damaged house does not have a roof, it should not be treated as a structure. This is a locked house. There are 2 types of locked houses. One is a temporary locked house or a house locked for a short duration. Another type is a prolonged locked house, which is locked and not being used for a long period of time. Both these types of locked houses should be treated as structures and given a structure number. Let us now see symbols used in the mapping process. After marking all structures in the map, some important symbols also need to be marked in the map to make the structures easily identifiable or to locate the structures easily. Here are some examples of symbols used in a rural PSU, such as transformer, water tank, common well, motor room, hand pump, and small bridge. This is an example of a structure map with all the structures marked and numbered along with the important landmarks in the PSU. Here is a mapper drawing the structure map in a rural PSU. He is drawing a footpath. While marking the footpath, care should be taken as these small footpaths may lead to a house. Thus, the team should be careful to locate hidden structures. In some areas, structures have been built so haphazardly that they can easily be missed, so care should be taken in those areas. If there is a pathway leading to a listed structure, check to see if the pathway goes to another structure. People living in the area may help to identify any hidden structures. Definitions. Now let us see a few definitions used in the field. PSU. PSU is nothing but primary sampling unit. It is the small working unit in a census or survey operation that can easily be covered by one enumerator. It has identifiable boundaries and lies wholly within an administrative area. Household. A household is a place where a person or group of people commonly live together and take meals from a common kitchen. There may be a household of persons related by blood or a household of unrelated persons or household having a mix of both.